Hi everyone, how's it going? I just wanted to. We are live here, and we are here for another session of real estate with Randy Stedwell. And there we go, real estate with Randy Stedwell, real estate talk with Randy Stedwell. And so we are here. We are going to be joining with. Uh, Dean Gozowsky, and so happy to have him. We've had him on here before, but this was before we changed the name, so I figured we'd bring him back and kind of go from there. So this is episode number 5 for this year, and we're about if you want to know his origin story or anything like that, go back into the YouTube channel and see the previous episode. It was one of the actual first episodes that we done. So I'm happy to, have him back, and we can kind of go over more updated things like the state of this market. Everybody wants to know that, what we're doing, what he's doing for the future, things like that, things of that nature. We also have a few surprises. He has a few events that he's going to be announcing and kind of taking it from there. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Dean. Dean, how is it going?
What's happening, man? How's my lighting?
It's a little dark, but I mean, we can make you out. So
all right. Well, I just got this new this light over here, and I'm trying to.
Oh, the ring light.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm using that too.
Excuse me, but maybe mine's not big enough.
That's all right.
Compensation. So, yeah. Anyhow, awesome. Thanks again for having me on, man. This is I enjoy being on the show and being feeling like a star for a little bit. It's like it's a prince over here.
Well, it's because you are a star. You are a star.
Yeah, so, I get it. You're the Big Dipper, all right? Yeah, let's play some Prince. It'll be all right.
No. I'm the small guy. I'm over here. I'm just trying to ride your coattails over there, So
we're just having fun. We just got back from Franklin, Tennessee. So we're part of a mastermind, Flip Hacking Live. You heard that web or the event, right? Flip Hacking Live.
Yeah. Okay. So Flip Hacking Live. If anybody doesn't know, it was an event that happened down in Tampa, or was it Orlando?
Yep, Orlando. That's where they had it last year. Yep.
Yeah. So it was a great event. If you ever get a chance to go again, I definitely recommend going. I did not go myself. I had personal things that came up, unfortunately. But I recommend everybody that I have seen has come back with stories upon stories of good things that happened and good people that they met. It's all about networking. No matter where you go to these events, it's not about the speakers that are speaking. I think there's more value in just networking with the people that are there.
No doubt.
So it's crazy because I don't really like, as much as I want to hear the speakers, like the big time speakers, Pace Morby, Jamil Daniels, people like that. It's great to hear them and things like that, but you really go there to speak with everybody else who's doing the same thing that you're doing, to be the camaraderie and anybody who is who's above your level, and you can learn from them. So that's the good thing about places like that, is that you can learn from everyone else just by having a conversation, and you never know where it leads to in the future. So yeah. I met you at a network meetup, and look where we're at now.
Yeah, where was that? Was that at the RIA, or where was it?
So I met you actually. I'm trying to remember which meetup that I met you at, because I see you at quite a bit of them. I know I met you at the RIA, and then I think after a few more events, I met you at the one at McVee's Pub and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Cool.
But
yeah, I apologize. I'm still struggling with the lighting over here, but I'm not going to dwell on that too much more, because it's just going to be like, oh, this guy.
That's all right.
Lighting and I swear I'm not dwelling on it that much, but
yeah, I'm in a hotel room, so
nice one.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I had to travel for my day job, but whether I'm traveling or not, I'm still coming here to provide value to everybody else, and do my best. So
yeah, that's great.
I'm trying to be as consistent as possible every Monday at 8. So if you don't know where the next one's going to be, it's going to be next Monday at 8 p.m. I don't know who I'm going to have on next. You never know. So
Yeah. Unless it's next Monday at 8.
Unless it's next Monday.
Unless it's Monday at 8. Yeah. No, so you were talking about community and association, and you got a lot of these talking heads that are out there right now. This is what they're preaching, right? This is like, hey, you got to get together. You got to, like, I remember when we were down at Flip Hacking Live, the Pace actually came in to speak, and here's there was a meetup that he was doing offsite, and some people actually went there. Now, I don't know if that was the one that Andre 3000 from Outkast or somebody from Outkast, maybe it was Big Boy, showed up.
Yeah, I think it was Big Boy.
Okay. Okay. Maybe it was that one. But in short, like, they showed up. Him and I think he was with some other guy. Jerry Norton was there as well. And he says, like, networking is key, and you got to, like, that was his pitch.
Yep.
Like, it's all about association, right? So stay with your group, stay with your your people, and grow together. And it's so important with the community. And so very, very early in the show here, let's talk about this, because I've got 2 events I want to plug. Shamelessly promote these 2 events. And what we've got is the 22nd of February. Okay. The 22nd is going to be one of our masterminds that we do. All right. There's no charge to get into this one. Okay. I've already mentioned to you, but you've been to these before. We get a good, decent turnout. That one right there, we're going to talk about market statistics. We're going to talk about the trends, and that's how I start off all these meetings, right? So that's the first one to put into the event, or in your event calendar, is on the 22nd of this month. All right, February 22nd. That's going to be at 6:30 probably is when we're going to actually kick it off, and it's at the Keller Williams office over in Novi. And don't worry, we're not pitching you. Come be part of Keller Williams. It's like, this is what we're doing, right?
Providing
service to the community, right?
You said it's 6 p.m.
6. Arrive at 6. I mean, I'll be there at 6, but I think we're going to kick off at 6:30 and do the whole MC thing. I don't know exactly who's going to be on the roster, other than some of the folks that have been at. Just got back from Franklin, Tennessee, with us at the mastermind.
So anybody who's out there, anybody who's new, right here, event February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Now, we will be posting in our Facebook group, Metro Detroit Off Market Real Estate Group. I will get with Dean. We will post whatever event calendar or anything like that he's having. We will post it there. Okay. So if for some reason you take it off, I will keep reminding you as well every week until the event. But I will be there. Okay. So February 22nd. Let me look at my calendar to see when that is. That is in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from Wednesday. So you need to be there, especially if you're new. Okay. Even if you're not new, get to networking with people. He puts on a great play. He does great interviews, and he has great people talking. But again, it's just about getting in the room with like-minded people. Period. Okay. If you have any questions about that, reach out to Dean. You'll be able to get his information at the end of this show as well, and kind of go from there. So that's the first event.
Second event is March 8th. Okay. March 8th, we've got none other than Bill Allen coming in from Flip Hacking Live. He's the guy who runs the show. All right. So the guy, he's trained many different entrepreneurs and real estate investors, and he's flying in. He's got his own airplane. He's flying into Oakland County Airport, and then we're gonna take him over to a venue to meet with some of the people that are already involved in the 7FF team locally. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to get on over to the event, and then again, that's going to be at 6:00 at there's a little meeting spot that we've got going on over in White Lake. We'll get all the addresses. We're going to have an event page and all that, but I tell you, there's going to be a cover charge for that one. Okay. But I'm talking like this guy's going to bring extreme value. I'll drop the video, the promotion video that we cut in your page. That way your people can have a look at it and at least see what this guy looks like, and then begin the search.
Now, when you say there's a cover charge, it's not like $1,000, right?
Almost.
Okay.
It's probably going to be about $25. And what we have to do, we're renting a venue. This event will definitely outgrow the office. We're going to pay for some of the things because we don't. I mean, the guy's flying his own plane in, and that costs. But we want to leave him with something. So
in my opinion, $25 is like a drop in the bucket, especially whether you're new, you're not new. It doesn't matter. You pay more than that on a freaking Starbucks for an entire week. Okay. So get your butt out there. There's no excuses. Pay the $25 for the cover charge, and kind of go from there. Again, I will be there. Okay. As long as nothing unforeseen happens, I will be there. Okay. And you need to get around like-minded people, period. Community, period. That network as much as possible. All right. I cannot preach that enough. Anybody who says otherwise, I can do this on my own. You can, but you're not going to grow as fast. You're not going to grow as much.
It's tough business. It is a tough business if you're doing it on your own. Ever since reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was laid out right there that you got to build your team.
Right.
And then as this business evolves a little bit, and you're truly paying attention to it, like you've got to, let me ask you real quick. What would you say the percentage of wholesalers versus flippers in this group are?
So I would probably say there is a good portion. There's probably more wholesalers, but a good portion of those wholesalers are also flippers.
Okay.
And they're also buy and hold investors. So, you still got a lot of buyers that still flip and still buy and hold. I don't know if I could put a percentage on it, but I would say we at least have 50% of at least flippers and buy and holders, both buyers, at least 50%, if not more. So
well, here's what ultimately why I bring that up. I've got a lot of different things going on in my mind right now. Coming out of this Franklin, Tennessee event, and they're talking about things like AI and how to use it, and look at all this different information. There's the real estate market. I mean, right now people are talking like, the market's going to crash. The Fed is raising rates, and like all this stuff that we're hearing, right? Like, if it's one thing you can learn from me is simply you need to know your numbers. You need to be able to track your numbers. You need to build your team. You need, but all that stuff goes in with it, right?
100%.
But moving on from the building the team comment, you like, for real, you have got to absorb yourself with the information. You got to just absorb it all into your mind that you can, and it's not necessarily driving down the road and listening to the music. Like, you're listening to the podcast, you're listening to like specifically this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many people actually sit down and actually watch Dean wave his hands and you know, you know, rather than doing that, the way that I listen to podcasts, Alex Hormozy, whoever,
Yep.
I just put them on YouTube, put them right on the phone, and just
Yep.
let it ride. That way I'm getting the audio, I'm getting the, some of the mindset that I want to, put in, go from there. But as you're listening to the talking heads of the world telling you that the market's going to crash, the market is, doing whatever, you got to watch and understand what truly are we, what are we up against,
Right.
You hear people losing jobs, market going 30% backwards on the West Coast. Okay. And I hear this from these people that are in my mastermind groups, my small, accountability groups, within our mastermind. But I tell you here locally, and this is speaking from, an agent. I've been a licensed agent since 2012. I'm currently a broker at my
Yep.
office, not the broker, but an associate broker. And years in the business, you start to see certain trends. Okay, interest rates go high, people freak out for a couple months, and then they're like, "Yeah, no big deal. We can still buy a house." We are still truly we're dealing with multiple offer situations,
Yep.
right? So the market is still reasonably warm. I'm not going to say it's hot.
No. The key thing is that you have to price things appropriately. You can't price them $10,000-$20,000 above what the comps say and think you're going to get 20 offers. You have to price them appropriately, and if you price them appropriately, you will get multiple offers.
Yeah, and that's what we're living right now. I mean, I had, a great example is, a house over in Commerce. Okay. We happen to know the people that flipped the house, and they priced it aggressively, like it's at the top of the market.
Right.
But because it's done so well, so like they've done a good job.
Yep.
And now they actually have a really good agent out there. Great pictures, staged the property beautifully. It's overall a good presentation, right? It's about marketing, right?
Yes.
20 plus people, through the open house. It's a 2-hour open house, and next thing you know, you got multiple offers, appraisal guarantees still. So it's still happening in the market. Now, that's Commerce, very desirable area. Let's go all the way over to Redford. Okay.
Yep.
I had a deal like everybody knows or should know that if you are in the process of getting a mortgage and you're like in underwriting, you don't change jobs. Okay. Right. And I know we're talking a little bit more retail right now, but this ties in with wholesalers and even house flippers, right? Because it all boils down to being able to deliver a properly priced product. I can say that ultimately fast, right? Property price, right? You got to be able to make sure that these things are going to sell on the back end.
Yep.
But without getting too scattered, this property over in Redford, this lady quit her job, ends up losing her financing, and we are literally like a week or so from closing on the deal, and she can't. So now it's like, well, let's go find another buyer. Yep. As a listing agent, that's what I do. So that's we put it on an open market, and literally like 2 days in, we got another offer. We had plenty of interest. So there's still people looking from the $150,000 price point all the way up to $300,000. And I tell you, I really am looking forward. And we're going to throw a party at this one. We're finishing up a property here at the end of the month. Here, it's over in Farmington Hills, like the 11th Drake area, and man, that is 2,700 square foot of colonial goodness. Man, this thing turns out it's looking really good right now. So I'm excited to throw in that party and having you guys out there for that one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I actually have a buyer who I sold 2 houses to. I've sold more than 2 houses to him, but right now he's working on 2 flips, one in Shelby and one in Farmington. And these were complete gut jobs that he did. And he that's one thing he specializes in is he like rearranges. He's a framer and he rearranges everything. And I keep getting these updates through Snapchat from him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm like, dude, you're killing it. You're killing it.
That's fun. You're a good encourager. I see that.
Yeah.
You hold a like. Here's what I can appreciate from the the conversation standpoint is that you keep it rolling.
Yeah.
You're not one to talk over anybody else or anything else. It's so I hope that that compliment comes through well for you.
I really appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. So we kind of all want to know. We've seen the market the way it's going right now. Everybody, I see there's a lot of scare tactics that the media is putting out there, and they're like, "There's going to be so many foreclosures. Get ready for it. It's gonna crash. It's gonna crash." And all I hear with that is, as a wholesaler, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And the reason why is because guess what I can do? I can use all that as leverage with the sellers when I talk to homeowners. Now, I'm not here to convince anybody to sell their house. I'm not here to convince anybody to say, hey, this is what market value is. I give people options. If they want to take my option, great. As far as working with me, if they want to take the option of going on the MLS, I will recommend a good realtor like yourself, but I give them options and go from there. Now, the reason why I say this is because I educate them about the market. Now, with everything that's being said out there, sometimes I don't even have to educate them now because it's all over the news. And I'm like, well, we're investors. We can't pay retail, right? We got to get it at a discount. We got to be able to make money. We got to be able to feed our families, so they understand that and be like, we're going to go in here and probably spend a good $40,000-$50,000. And you want us to make what, $5,000? I can't do that,
Yeah.
So I walk through the numbers backwards with my sellers. And if you do that, that's also educating them. You're like, hey, look, the one right down the street sold for $100,000. In order to be up to par for that one, yours is going to need about $30,000 to $35,000 worth of work. Unfortunately, once I do that, I'm going to have to pay realtor commissions, closing costs, things like that. So I do the math with them, and I'm like, I'm looking here just to try to make a 10% return, 10 to 15% return.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So, I mean, what issues have you come across with sellers coming into this market?
Great question. As you're walking me through that, I cringe a little bit. I'm like, one of the things that we're working on at the office is anchoring low. Okay, making sure that we're anchored low and being able to be profitable, because we don't know if the market slides or if it plateaus, or like right now we're seeing it's hot in certain cases, but we have to be prepared for the backslide. We've got to, all right? And maybe let's talk about indicators of the backslide here in just a bit, all right? But pricing it appropriately to cause it to sell, or negotiating the deal up front that you can actually close on the deal. So number one, you can close on it, you can fund the deal, you're going to be able to resell it if you're wholesaling. Like, it's so important to just you have to be upfront with your sellers and
Yes.
be tactful and just it's the whole language of sales. I bought we're buying classes right now. Okay, we got Grant Cardone's thing. His Unbreakable Challenge. They just did that, so we've got that going on. I also bought the Sell Me This Pen Challenge from Jordan Belfort.
Okay.
That's a really good one. Talking about earning trust in the first 4 seconds of a conversation, or over the phone or in person. Like, everybody's got these mental images in their head, and if somebody's in a hooded sweatshirt and and they talk like they don't have a clear voice. I mean, like, people have images. So do the things to stack the cards in your favor and set yourself apart from the crowd. And I mean, so those are all little things from their sales training. But what we're doing right now is we're really trying to sharpen our iron and make sure that our team is going in at the right number, right? And John Martinez, if you're familiar with that sales training, he talks about taking away at the opportunity. Hey, it doesn't look like you're really, in a position to actually do this transaction or sell this house right now. So I'm just, not going to insult you with an offer or whatever, however you need to word it. But I mean, there's so many different ways. And I'm telling you right now, as the market progresses, it's always progressing. You're going to have to become so much better. You're going to have to become sharper as a wholesaler, as a deal finder, as a and this is like a big struggle. Like, full transparency, this is a struggle that we got going on right now. Maybe it's mainly, mostly just in our minds, but being able to identify where you truly need, and that's where your team comes into play, right? I got a partner who's very, very transparent, and he's like, hey, this is where we're at, man. This is what we got to do. And I'm like, I agree. Yeah, our closing percentage, our ratio of closed deals versus appointments is not where it needs to be. And you start to identify as you look through your books and you understand how, what your KPIs, your key performance indicators, right? Your KPIs. You got to know your business. You got to track there's so much that goes into it. I'll talk about this stuff for a very, very long period of time, but can we shift gears out of that and get into like where the market's going and some of the things to watch for?
Yeah, most definitely. I got one question that Tracy Belinda asked me was, this is the problem we're running into every time I see a house I'm interested in. There are multiple offers over ask. My issue is that plus I'm out of state. If I come to Detroit, she's from Miami for a week. I'm sure she meant properties. Do you think I'll have a better chance of obtaining a property? I'm a cash buyer looking for 40 to 60 range near Bagley. It's like searching for a unicorn. And for this, I will tell you, Tracy, is that it is very hard to find something like that in the Bagley area, in your range, that nobody's jumping all over. My advice to you, and Dean can have his own advice on that. He'll answer the question in just a moment as well. But my advice is get with not only agents, it's in addition to wholesalers. Okay. Now, you have them send you the deal first. You look at it to see if it meets your criteria. If it does, you have to act fast, and that way you can view or walk the property. Okay. Now, you have to fully understand what your buy box is, what you're willing to do as far as the renovation goes. Sometimes in order to get what you want, you need to do a bigger renovation. That means a lot less people are going to be interested in it. If you want a turnkey solution, that is not the range you're going to be in. Not in the Bagley area. Okay. Just my opinion. You can take it for what it's worth. It's probably not even worth the 2 cents that's printed on it. So, but I'll let Dean answer that for you.
Yeah. So, just for perspective's sake, we just listed a property on Woodingham in Bagley. Okay. 1,600 square foot, something like that. Basement, garage. It's a really nice house. It's got the nice sandstone accents. That's 100 still updating. You know, it's clean, but you know, it still needs some. You know, other areas you may want to look at. And I'm not going to go naming off neighborhoods, but I can tell you this: if you go to the fair housing, it's huduser.gov. You want to type that in, Randy? huduser.gov / fair market rents. Now you might have to Google that term. So fair market rents on the back of huduser.gov, and you put in your local community, your county rather, and that's going to tell you after a couple of clicks, it's going to show you what the fair market rents are for 3-bedroom, actually starting at studios all the way up to 4-bedroom houses. Okay,
gotcha.
It can tell you what the fair market rent is for that county. So Wayne County, it was insane. It from the 2022 to 2023 numbers, it boosted up $150 a month roughly. I think it was $154 on a 3-bedroom house. Now, it was the girl's name was Tracy.
Yes, Tracy.
All right, so Tracy, here's what I'd say to you. You have the opportunity to find turnkey houses in that range, right? Even if you're on a little bit higher end, the $60,000 range, the question is now this: if you're paying cash, and I'm assuming that you're renting,
right?
What's that?
Yeah, she's probably either renting them out or doing a flip. So
yeah, well, I mean, if you're flipping, I mean, geez, good luck, because it's going to be if your budget is limited to 40 to 60.
Yeah,
you probably
I would not recommend if you're going to get in those areas in Detroit. I'd recommend doing a buy and holds. I don't recommend at this moment with the market, with it being so unpredictable in Detroit. I don't recommend flips in Detroit. Now, it's different if you get a smoking deal in East English Village and things like that. But she said she wants to rent and hold them. So,
sure.
And some renovation. So she said also perhaps Grandmont or Rosedale might be better. If you can find a good deal out there, that'd be great. Now, like I said, you're probably going on market where there's a ton of interest. Look, I recommend you, yes, I'm a wholesaler and I want you to buy from me, but I don't always have the correct inventory. So look at multiple wholesalers that are out there and just make sure you are asking the wholesaler the right questions. That's all. Okay. Those right questions are, okay, what do I have to pay out of pocket? Do I have to pay all the closing costs? Great. Yes, as long as you know. Does the seller understand, the back taxes and water bill, blight tickets, all of that? That's coming out of the seller's end, correct? That's in your contract. Most wholesalers, yes, that is correct. We are going from a title company, correct? Yes, you're going from a title company. Okay. If anybody comes to you wants to do a quick claim deed, run. Always get title insurance. So that holds you accountable, and that holds the seller accountable. Okay. And it doesn't matter to the seller because guess what? You're paying the title insurance. You're paying the closing costs. So that's what helps with that aspect. So I always recommend you do that. Usually 99.9% of wholesale deals, you are paying the closing costs. So anybody who says that, oh, I didn't know that's going to happen, you're doing a regular wholesale deal, right? Yes? Okay. Most wholesale deals, the buyer pays closing costs for the seller and the buyer. Is that right, Dean?
You know what? I actually negotiated a completely different way because all my contracts are written, for in my favor.
Yep.
Okay. Um, with tax prorations and
Yep.
also the, what the topic that you're talking about right here. I mean, this is like, yeah, no, you pay your. How can I pay your taxes? Like
Right.
that's my like so title work. We have transfer taxes, and
Yep.
and also what you should probably understand is that like there's some habits that people get from a negotiation standpoint where some folks are like, well, so and so is going to pay my closing cost. Like, the people that are calling the cash buyer numbers, like call our website,
Mm-hmm.
are like
Yep.
pre-programmed. It's nowhere on our website that we're going to pay you. I don't believe it is that we're going to pay your closing costs. Now
Mm-hmm.
we can do that, but it all boils down to how we negotiate this deal.
Right.
So you tell me, Mr. Seller, like if we're going to role play that real quick, Mr. Randy, what's most important to you? Somebody takes care of your closing costs or putting the most amount of money in your pocket? It's a
Gotcha.
trick question.
Yeah.
Putting the most amount of money in your pocket. All right, so
Yep.
and then the question becomes, how can I for taxes? And pay
Mm-hmm.
your taxes. I don't know what your situation is with your CPA. You go into the CPA, like whatever write-offs you might have. Okay, so then again, I'm going to go ahead and ask you: is it fair for me to pay your taxes?
Right. I had
So,
one wholesale deal come through, and I didn't mean to interrupt you here. Sorry about that.
no, you're good.
Um, that came through and said, it was written inside there that buyer pays back taxes. I'm like, what wholesaler negotiated that? You know, most
Do
of
we
the
know what the back
time,
taxes are?
they have a rough idea. They didn't
Okay.
post it in there at all. So it was it was never posted. So not only is you have the price, but you have to pay the back taxes on that. And he didn't even provide that information.
Yeah.
So, you know, my this is my spiel, and anybody wants to take it and use it, I have no problem with that. My spiel to the sellers is, hey, Mr. Seller, you know, we as a company, we pride ourselves in order to make things go smoother. We do pay the closing costs for you as well as us. Basically, what that entails is we cover anything from the title company that the title company charges. Okay, the number that I give you, okay, is going to be the number to you. There's only three things that's going to be coming out of your that number, and I tell them three things. I say, one, your back taxes and insurance, right, or your back taxes and all the way up to the closing date. We don't know when's the closing, as well as I'm, you still own the property. They understand that, no problem. The second thing is blight tickets. What's blight tickets? Oh, those tickets you get for too long of a grass that the city likes to give out. You know those type of tickets. Oh yeah, I don't got none of those. Then you don't have to worry. And then the third thing is your water bill. Oh yeah, I know I gotta take care of that. Great, awesome. Those are the only three things that would ever come out of your end. Everything else, that number I give you, whatever number I give you, is going to be net to you.
There
Now,
you go.
right there, I'm upfront, I'm honest with everything that's going to come out of their end. Okay. And it says all that in my contract. Okay. And I tell them everything that we discussed is going to be in this contract, and we can walk it line by line for you if you need be, but I can just go it over with you, no problem. I'll send it over to you. Let's do about 10 minutes and we'll do a DocuSign. Does that work for you? Great.
So you're closing deals over the phone?
Sometimes I do, and
Okay.
sometimes I don't. So it all depends on the situation. If it's a out of state seller or out of state seller,
Mm-hmm.
then we have to do it over the phone. But I'll still go look at the property first. get access to it, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
What other questions do you want to address?
So the thing is that what would you, for somebody just getting into, we'll go two different routes. Okay, I'll say we'll start off with it as an investor, someone wanting to do an investment for a buy and hold, do renovations, do a buy and hold. I'm not going to get into flipping right now. Just do, hey, I want to buy a property, I want to put some money into it to appreciate, and I want to rent it out. Okay. Um, where do you think they should start off if they're going to start off in the Metro Detroit area? Okay. And what, how do you think they should get started in order to do that? Then we'll get into, then I want to go as a wholesaler, kind of the same questions. Where should they get started? What should they do? Obviously, me as a wholesaler, as well as you as a wholesaler, we know a little bit different, but I just kind of want to get your opinion and let everybody know your opinion on that.
Yeah, so I'm the type of guy over here that the attention span can be a little short. So I'm writing down these questions.
Yep.
And I might need you to help lead me through the
process. Problem.
To lead me through. So first question is buy and hold investors. Where do you start? So here's some general guidelines, right? I'm not going to name neighborhoods.
No.
Not doing it. In fact, I'm not even going to name cities.
Okay.
What you should probably do is have a look at how much money you have to spend. All right. Mm-hmm. Whether it's cash or if it's down payment. Okay. You can look into some things like DSCR loans.
Yes.
Okay. You've heard of these? Have you talked about them on the channel?
Yes, we have.
Okay, got it. Yep. So basically, if a property qualifies and it has like for a certain amount of rent, so say for instance, $1,000 a month rent, it's my understanding that in some cases, the rent can be just the property taxes and insurance, the PITI payment, property
PITI
insurance, so that can be up to $1,000 in some cases. So there's that. Talk with the lender that does DSCR loans. Get a good, wholesome explanation on that. Secondly, you're going to start looking at, you'll look at the interest rates and those, they're high.
Yep.
Right? You're going to see that. But the bottom line is that the numbers have got to work with that. Whatever calculations you use, if you use a management company, know how much they're going to charge you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then build in all your costs through a spreadsheet. I think you can find spreadsheets, somewhere online. Some of these different websites, these podcasts, and somebody, has a spreadsheet out there for you. You can find one. But the thing is that you got to figure out what your overhead is. You got to figure out what your return needs to be. All right. So that's something you need to do. You also need to have a serious look at if you're not paying cash, how much money do you need for a down payment, which is typically 20 to 25% down. And then here's the real kicker. I don't know of many organizations out there, lending institutions, that are lending less than $75,000 right now. Some of them are even at $100,000. So that means that if your $100,000 purchase price, 25% down, $75,000 mortgage. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need to talk with a lender. Get somebody on your team, somebody that you can trust, that you can just run the numbers through. You can look at other, like Kiavi. Kiavi, that used to be Lending Home. I'm not doing any deals with these guys, but they're, anytime you're going through a mortgage process, it's tough. Well, what if you can work out seller financing?
Mm-hmm.
Work out some sub-2 deals. Go find, did you know that you can find people that have certain interest rates and you can target them specifically in your marketing?
Yeah, sub-2, you know, subject to the existing mortgage.
Yeah, we've done them.
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah, most definitely.
Seller finance.
Now, if you are looking for a lender, okay, keep in mind this has to be an entity, okay. Yoav Gilead, I interviewed him on the channel, okay, last year. Get a hold of him. He does short-term hard money. He also does long-term DSCR loans, okay. Hard money is basically a DSCR loan. It's the same thing. A DSCR loan basically goes by the property and not your income, okay. So keep that in mind. All right. You still got to qualify for it, and you still have to have the reserves and so on and so forth. But I 100% recommend you do that. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, Dean, is have you seen it where some people are saying, yeah, I'll be all cash. They do it with hard money, and then they want to refinance into a long-term mortgage, say a Fannie, Freddie Mac, so on and so forth, after doing what's called the Burr strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, one thing that I think it's Fannie or is it Freddie right now that just changed their seasoning period? I'm trying to remember. One of the two, Fannie or Freddie, I can't remember which, they're just changing their seasoning period from 6 months for a cash out refi to 12 months.
Yeah, I've not heard that one.
Yeah. So it's either Fannie or Freddie Mac. I can't remember which. And it's actually happening pretty soon. They're changing it, going the seasoning period from 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Well, when government entities start doing things like that, you got to ask yourself why.
Yep.
Like think that through. And I'm not going to attempt to do it right now because I just, that's going to be a lot of dead space. Yeah. But why? Why are these guys doing that?
Mm-hmm.
What's the question? And I think that's a real nice transition, to market conditions. People
Correct.
are like, okay, like market's going to crash. Is the market going to crash? Interest rates are high. I mean, I've seen, like, again, I mentioned this earlier, but you see it firsthand where interest rates spike, people freak out, don't know, sky's falling, and then the market levels out a little bit. Next thing you know, you're in a hot market. Well, but truly, what do we need to watch? What's going to make the market really take a dump? Well, we need, what if we have really, really high interest rates?
Mm-hmm.
Will people still buy houses? Yes, people will still buy houses. It will, I imagine the velocity will slow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what else? Job loss. People stop, buying houses because they don't have any money. I mean, that's one thing that can, slow down a market, right? People, the ability for people to purchase.
Yep.
Okay. Supply, that was one thing. Actually, I was just looking at the numbers for Rochester Hills, and you look at 2021 versus 2022, and actually in some cases, some very particular neighborhoods, the markets even go backwards.
Yeah.
But why? Why do they go backwards? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons.
Yep.
But when you just, I guess, in that particular situation, I think a lot of it has to do with the inventory. It slows because of the lack of inventory, lack of quality inventory, all that stuff. So, there's that stuff. Another one, which ties in nicely with supply, is the foreclosure numbers, right? We track these every week, right? We have our VA pull them directly from the legal news. And I'm telling you, the foreclosures have not spiked. And we've got about 1,000 in the whole state of Michigan every month.
They're controlling it. They're controlling them coming out. The thing is that what I've seen is because if they go into foreclosure, there's two things that will happen. One, they'll do some sort of creative financing, okay, or some sort of loan modification.
Sure.
Okay. Or two, they'll sell it out because they got equity in the house. Okay, um, so it's kind of really out there now. I want to come back to this. Andrew Christine gave the link there. It is Freddie Mac that came out with the new guidelines,
Okay.
and it is actually on cash out. It's effective on cash out refinance loans originating after March 7th, 2023.
So
So
a month from
that's
now.
when it's going to be going for. Yeah, it's crazy. But how does that affect? Well, as a wholesaler, how does that affect you? It doesn't affect you as a wholesaler, but who does affect your buyers. So you have to know all the rules, okay, as a wholesaler. So you know what strategies they're using. You know, it's going to knock some of those buyers out of contending be, because they're not going to be able to cash out refi. They're not going to be able to get their money back. Now they can go different routes, of course, you know, but at the same point, they're not going to get the better rates from the Freddie Mac. They can go Fannie for now, but how soon is Fannie uh, gonna change over? I'm sure they're following suit. You know,
They're very similar entities.
exactly. So now, so we'll go kind of, and I didn't mean to kind of sidetrack here. Going back to what you're saying, you know, with every area is different. You look at California,
Mm-hmm.
their percentages are dropping like it's hot. You versus in the Metro Detroit area, we're not dropping as much. I'm not saying we're not dropping, but our values are not dropping as bad as out there in California. What's the reasoning why? Our job market, the labor market, we still need people here. Okay, out there, most of the workers out there still need to be or are remote so they can live anywhere. So what are they going to do? We're going to move somewhere else and still keep our job. You know, or
Yeah.
they got laid off from the big tech
Yeah.
and moved to a different place and work for another work at home place. You never know. You know, so look at all these options and kind of go from there. But what would you? So, what areas would you recommend? Like, would you recommend with ARVs higher, like more luxury end? Would you, like kind of where would you recommend somebody starting as far as doing a buy and hold?
Oh, buy and hold. I would. I want to make sure that the numbers work. Like
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. All right. Make sure that there's industry around. Amazon's hot, right? But you understand that if you're looking at $150,000 house and it just meets the 1% rule, uh, I mean, if you really boil the numbers down, it might not work.
Right.
Okay. So now, why do we go back and bring up the HUDuser.gov site? Okay. So you can look at your numbers. All right. So now let's go back to Tracy's example. I got $50,000 to spend. Okay. $50,000 all in. And I can get $1,300 to $1,400 a month rent on that thing if it's a 3-bedroom.
Yep.
Geez, if the vouchers will pay $1,500, which is what it says, it was
Yep.
like $1,377 was what it was last year. So add 150, it's insane. But if you just take a 1,300, right, and then you divide that into your cost, what's your return? Well, if you just double it, $50,000 house, 2% rule, $100,000 purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost like 2.3. Like the numbers are really appear to be good. Well, then at that point, you just make sure that you're buying the right house and
Yep.
You have it inspected and you got boots on the ground, especially if you're buying from out of state. So
Yeah.
focus on your cash flow. The area, um, that's a conversation for your property manager. Is your property manager gonna do business in these areas?
Mm-hmm.
You have to decide, do you want appreciation? Okay. One of the things that you learn early from Robert Kiyosaki is that, listen, if appreciation happens, that's icing on the cake, right? You buy for cash flow.
Cash flow is king.
Right.
And especially in this market where we're at, you say you buy too high, okay? Say, you know what? I overpay. Okay.
Happens.
I overpay and I get into a property, but guess what? It's giving me $500 a month in cash flow. After capex, after this, after that, it's giving me five. Then guess what? Who says you're overpaying? Okay, who cares? You're getting $500 a month, right? That's making you money while you're sleeping. Okay, as long as you're putting money aside for your capital expenditures, your maintenance, your vacancy, your all of that, and you're still cash flowing. Okay, now the numbers that most people go by is right around $300 a month. Okay, for the cash flow after they take all their expenses out. All right, that's
Yeah.
a good deal.
And realistically, where you're going to get that done is you're going to get that done in the city.
Yeah. And thank you to Andrew Castine, by the way, who gave me the link. This is the link on the screen right now for what you were talking about, the HUDuser.gov.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
This is the link right here. Thank you, Andrew, for putting in work and posting the link. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So, um, and I think, Tracy, that's why you wanted to do in Detroit is because of that. And you were doing the lower percentage. But keep in mind, like I would probably go a little bit higher in that and see if I can get myself into a duplex. That way you can get, you know, I get higher cash flow, you know? So that's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been through the MLS. So I'm an agent. I've been an agent for many years, right? Um, geez, you're looking about $50,000 a door if you're turnkey, at least,
Yep.
minimum. Sometimes you can find these fourplexes, you know, and I'm telling you that's our first property ever was a duplex, cash flowing duplex,
Mm-hmm.
and I should have bought more,
Yeah.
but we bought it right. The numbers worked. $1,200 a month rent at that particular point in time was an $80,000 purchase.
Yep.
Now, present day, I mean, that thing, I'm not going to tell you how much it makes, but uh, we'll never sell that thing.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about being buy and hold investor is you don't have to sell. And I'm starting off at wholesale. Wholesaling is not an end all be all game. And anybody who tells you it is, I'm sorry, they're wrong.
It's
Okay.
work.
It's work, it's constant. You're trading one job for another. What
Yep.
I'm using wholesaling for is one, bringing this community together. Two, I'm going to eventually own my own rentals. Okay. And three, it allows me the money that I'm bringing in from wholesaling to get my own home renovated, my personal home. So, hey, and by doing that, I'm learning it. I've learned so much by doing my own home renovation. It's made me a better wholesaler. I'm able to price out renovations a lot better and actually be, with my buyers and talk with them and get, hey, yeah, you're pretty close on the pricing, you know. And before I started that, I was way off, and I realized that. So always my recommendation, if you're just starting out, if you think you're going to spend $20,000 for a renovation, plan on spending 40. That's just, it's the reason. If you don't use that, plan on spending 40, and if you don't use it, great. But mistakes are going to happen, you know. So, that's kind of that's my that's my 2 cents on that. So my question to you, Dean, is as a wholesaler, where do you recommend somebody starts as a wholesaler?
Help me out with the question a little bit more. Like what like
so as a wholesaler, somebody starting out as a new wholesaler, what do you recommend? Where do you recommend? What areas do you recommend them starting out? What reaching out. One, do you recommend them reaching out on market and or off market? That's kind of one portion. And then two, do you recommend them doing inside Detroit or the suburbs?
Good. Yeah. No. Thanks for the question. Let me take a little sidestep and tell you a story that'll help with this. Okay. I always say this, but why did Jesus teach in parables?
I don't know.
Jesus taught in stories, so you would remember.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So let's think about this for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine this. I get these phone calls from my website, all right? My 949-1224 number, right? Hey, do you buy houses in Detroit? Like these are the regular phone calls I get. And it's not just me. It's anybody who has pay-per-click.
Yep.
You know who's calling. Hey, do you buy houses in Detroit? Yeah. What do you got? Talk to me. Right? Are you the person on title? No, I've got this property under contract. I mean, like, it's the way it goes most of the time. And I'm not knocking these people, but what I'm telling you is that there's a strategy that these people are following that is it's not producing fruit. Okay? So now you got these people that have we had a joke about this on the way back from Nashville. One guy, Mike Aziz, you know him in the community.
Yep. Oh yeah.
He's like, I get the phone call from this house that's been on the market for like 390 days, right? It's on the market, on market properties. I'm not saying don't go after on market properties. If you do, you need to have a good, genuine conversation with these people, okay? And know what you're doing, because you're dealing with agents on the other end of the line. Understand that. And if you come at me like, you say you want to put my house under contract, okay, well, let's bring your deposit. Bring your deposit. Let's get an actual. I'm not going to let you wholesale that thing. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to go get your real estate license. You want to do this stuff, right? You want to be a buyer's agent, which is effectively what you're doing. You want to secure property, then go ahead and, and I'll settle down here. But understand that these people are calling. Number one, they don't know how to analyze the deal. They're excited to get a contract, but this 390-day house, it was like on the market for $90,000, and the guy's got it under contract for $85,000. Oh, I'll give you $85,000. Seller's agent. Seller's agent's like, look at this schmuck. $85,000 it is. Now this guy calls us, or calls Mike in this example, and he's like, oh yeah, it's a great house, and just needs a little bit. He's got all the pictures that are on Zillow.
Yeah,
that's what he's using as a comp tool, and he sends them on over, or he tells a little bit about the property, and tells Mike that he can get himself a real good deal at $90,000, which is exactly the price it's at on the MLS. What are you doing? All right. Now, I'm not naming names, all right?
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to badmouth anybody. But there's people out there that are teaching this, and they're producing students that are coming into our market in producing junk.
Yes.
Okay, you're going on the market. Okay, understand that market is like there's a lot of people doing it right now. Okay,
Yep.
we write 200 letter of intents a month at least. Okay, that means that I'm sending you an agent that has a house on the market for over 30 days or whatever it is, whatever my flavor of the week is, 30 or 40 days. If you're on the market, you're getting a letter of intent from us. It says we'll buy it land contract, we'll buy it, seller finance, or we'll buy it cash. What do you want to do, Mr. Seller? Okay, so we get responses from that. It's about the same as sending direct mail, I'll be honest with you.
Yep.
Now, there's ways that you can increase that, that frequency, that callback frequency. You can reach out to them, send them a text. This is a relationship business, which boils right back to the original reason why we're even doing this call. Is because this is a community.
100.
All right?
Yep.
You understand that you can't just walk in and just call it the way it is, without building a relationship with these sellers. So refresh the question one more time for the audience, because you're asking about how do we get started, right?
Yeah. So wholesalers, where do you recommend they start? One was first part was off market or on market, and Detroit or suburbs.
Well, I can tell you that if I could find a good, legitimate deal in the suburbs right now, I'd scoop it up.
Yep.
But if I can find a good, legitimate deal, like here's what's coming out of Detroit right now. My web lead line just called, and it's got a tenant that's paying $400 a month, and they want like 15 grand for this house, and it's in Highland Park, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know that I want that house. It's probably not my buy box.
Right.
All right. But will I put it under contract and then try to sell it to somebody else? You go through the RIA site right now, the listed properties. How many of them are Detroit?
Quite a bit.
Like overwhelming majority, at least 90%.
Yeah.
Probably. Understand that if you feel good just to get a contract, don't fake yourself out. That's what I'm saying. Don't fake yourself out. If you're gonna put in the work, go out to the suburbs, go out to the places, drive for dollars.
Yes.
Okay. Go to the Deal Machine app. Go to this new one called Backflip. There's they're just getting started, but try out Backflip app. For real estate investors, they have some financing tags on there as well. But as you're going through neighborhoods, find a distressed property. Find a property that maybe cars on blocks. The driveway isn't shoveled. The grass isn't cut. The signs of distress, broken out windows, bad roof. Okay, a bad roof with a tarp. They get extra bonus points for that one. You know why? Because they got up there. They already told you once that number one, the roof is bad. All right, so that's indicator number one. They couldn't afford to replace it. Otherwise, it would be replaced, and this stands to reason, right?
Yep.
But then when the tarp is over it, like, hey, there's our attempt to fix it, but it's a key indicator that you probably don't have the money to. I mean, sure, there's exceptions to everything, but like, hey, it's got a tarp. That's getting a letter from me. I'm going to do that, right? Go knock on the door if you have to. Bandit signs. We get deals from our bandit signs. I got 500, or excuse me, I pay $500 for 100 signs installed out in the community. And it's a real kicker is I had signs out in the Dearborn Heights area that were they're out there, yellow signs. You guys driving up and down Warren Road, see my signs. I got a huge influx of calls once the snow hit, the big snowstorm. Then it's like that yellow stood out from the
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
But place those bandit signs within the neighborhoods.
Yep.
Not just the busy intersections, but inside the neighborhoods where people see them.
Now, keep in mind, I got to add to that a caveat.
What is it?
Check the city regulations and what happens. Now, not all the cities, like if you try to do that in Sterling Heights or like some of the higher end in Farmington Hills and higher end neighborhoods, they're going to rip those down, or they're going to try to try to come after you and find you for those signs.
Yeah, once you spend that money for those signs, consider them gone.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the inspectors will call you and they'll let you know which ones, which cities are not okay. Because I don't know, I'm not,
But don't let that stop you. That's the key thing here. Trial and error. Okay. You spend a little bit of money on marketing, see what happens. If it works, great, put more money into it. Try something else. If it works, put more money into it. If it doesn't, move on to the next thing. Key. I mean, it's just a trial and error.
I would challenge that. I would challenge that statement. So you got to look at it and prove it over time. Mail works over time. All right. Yeah. Back in 2012 when I started in the business, literally I could spend $300 on my yellow letters, my handwritten yellow letters, and I got a 10% plus response rate.
Yeah.
So for 300 letters, I would get, I remember this one statistic, 23 calls.
Yeah.
But then my inability to close, which is the reason why you need to stay educated and even partner up with somebody who is a able-bodied closer. I got one deal out of that. One deal out of that $300, which sounds really, really good, and I'd love to do that nowadays. But there was 23 leads, and I know I left money on the table because I didn't know how to structure anything creatively. If it didn't fit my box of 70% minus repair,
I
forgot about it.
Now I have a caveat. I'm not sitting here saying try one strategy, and then if it doesn't work, go to a different strategy. What I'm saying is try one strategy and try multiples of that strategy. Okay. What I mean by that is you brought up mailers. Okay, great. Let's do this trial section on mailers. Okay. On this paper. Okay, that's not working. Let's try a different avenue of reaching out to them. We're still doing mailers, but we're flipping it up where we're trying to make the paper a little bit better, or we're going to postcards instead of full out letters, or however, there's umpteen in every different category. There's umpteen amount of different things you can do to try. Not everything's going to work for you, and you may come say, okay, this is not working, and then a year later want to come back to it and try it again with your newfound knowledge of what you've learned over that year.
Yep. It's always changing.
So, most definitely. I always recommend this. This is my aspect for wholesalers, and correct me if I'm wrong. If whatever you think, Dean, let me know, because you're a realtor, so I recommend. If you are going for something that's on market and you're trying to wholesale it, you need to do your numbers correctly. So you have your ARV, and even if you say, "Oh yeah, my ARV is, we'll go 200,000," okay, 70% of that is
140.
About 140. I think it's going to be about 40 grand worth of work. We'll get under contract for 100 grand. Okay. And then we'll try to sell it for 110. Or no, sorry. We'll get under contract for 90 grand. We'll try to sell it for 100. Okay. And there's a third piece that you have to look at. And now the people that you, like you said, that are training, as long as it works your numbers, then it shouldn't matter, right? No. Okay. The buyers here are savvy. They will look on the MLS. Okay. They still need to feel like they get a deal. Okay. It's still a human being on the other side. Okay. They still need to feel like they get a deal. And so essentially what's going to happen is, say it's on, you got locked up for 90, you're trying to sell it for 100, but the house is literally on the market for, we'll say 105,000. Okay. That is not a deal. It's been on the market for 90 plus days. Okay. There's a reason for that. Okay. Now you have to go back and you have to look at your renovation costs. Are you off on your renovation costs? All right. Is there some sort of structural foundation that is wrong? The reason why they're not getting multiple offers or they're not getting offers. Okay. You have to look at all of that. But then you have to look at, okay, now if it's on market for 105 and I'm sitting here trying to sell it for 75 or say 70, that's a different story 100%. Okay. I would definitely do that all day long. But you have to look at that. That's your other aspect. You have to you have to make sure that the buyer makes sure he thinks he's getting a deal.
Well, that's the sales process as well. I mean, it's communication. So a lot of folks, it's the MLS effect. You know, you put a sign in the yard, real estate agents will do that, and they don't never do any other additional promotion. Like, you get one property. This is talking dispositions right now.
Yes.
You get one property, and you got to move that thing. Like, it's your responsibility to the seller now to move the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So go exhaust all your resources, build relationships, build your buyers list, network with your community, you know, talk with people, and don't just expect to just put it out there on an email very, very passively. You have to be aggressive in this market right now. Go find the people. No, ask around. Ask Randy. Hey, who would buy this type of a deal? Hey, you know what? Send it over to Dean. Yep. Dean's got deep pockets. He'll buy anything. Well, numbers make sense, right? Numbers need to make sense. But that's your training, and you have to take responsibility for is know your business, right? And then you can move these deals. But yeah, no, I mean that's a good thing to bring up right there, for sure.
Yeah. And one thing that I always recommend is talk to your buyers. Now, everybody says, "What do I need to get? The buyers first or the sellers?" Okay. 100%, and there's other people out there that disagree with me. Find the deal first.
Who would disagree with that?
I see so many people out there that do, and the reason I say that is if you have the deal, you can always JV with somebody who has the buyer. That's it.
If it's good enough deal,
you know. So, for instance, I have buyers. I listen to my buyers. So instead of me saying, hey, I'll take the deal from you, take it straight to my buyer and get the feedback from them. No, I know what they're going to say. Okay. So I can say, hey, this is probably not going to be a deal, or we need to get this a little bit lower. Or what I can do is I'll put it out there. I'll see what feedback I get. That way we can get a solid offer before we go back for a price reduction. And I don't ever like to go back for a price reduction and hope. What I do is I'll put it out there, or I'll go to a selected few buyers and say, hey, what would you pay for this? And give me the reasons why. Okay. Okay, great. If we can make that number work, would you be interested in closing in a week, 2 weeks, whatever? Great.
That's a great close right there.
Magic. You know, that's how I do
it. That's a good close.
Yeah.
If I could do this, would you do that?
Exactly.
That's how we got our last, seller finance deal. It was a lot of money too. Saved us $15,000. Just for asking the question, hey, would you be willing to do this? Would you be open-minded?
Correct.
Like, one of the things that let me as we wrap up here, let me give a couple things that I'm working on with my team. Asking questions. So like, you got one question: how much do you want for the house? Or we use that one, right?
Yeah.
So Like, let's role play this real quick, Randy. Like,
Yeah.
so Randy, how much are you looking to get for, how much are you looking to get for your house?
I need to get the maximum amount of possible, man. Give me what's your best offer? Give me your best offer.
Okay. So that's my question number one, right? How much do you want to get how much do you want for this house? Mr. Seller, how much were you hoping to walk away with out of this transaction?
Gotcha.
Okay, it's the multiple layers, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. Which
then I know I got a loan. I'm hoping to at least walk away with like 50 grand. So,
okay. All right, cool. So 50 grand. That you're telling me that you have a mortgage on this house. How much is the mortgage?
It's probably about 100 grand. 110 ish.
So what you're telling me is you need about $150,000 to walk away from this deal to make everything whole.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just out of curiosity, how much is your monthly payment?
I got the mortgage about 20 years ago. I think my mortgage about like, $700 a month.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So if we were able to work out something creatively, could I treat you as the bank and pay you a little bit?
What does that mean?
Well, it means a lot of things. Let's get into it. Let's not get into the whole strategy section there. But the point was this, right? Yep. You got one question, is what I'm training my team on.
Mm-hmm.
One question, whatever it is. Find two other ways to ask that same question that's not, different ways, yep. Right? And then do it again. It's a training exercise, and that's going to open your brain. And I'm telling you, the girl that we're training right now, she's been with us for a while, and she's really, really good. She's coming up with some pretty creative stuff. She really is. And, I'm thankful for that because that's she's awesome. Accepted and she's working through it. So, and it's fun. Sales is fun, right? We're just getting people what they need. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of brings it back and it kind of ties it all together is we are not here to convince anybody to sell their house. We are here to offer solutions to their problems. Okay? That's it. I have one seller that she literally lost her home to a foreclosure and it went to auction.
Mm-hmm.
They're still living in there. They have the redemption period right now. The redemption period is up March 6th. And literally, if I would have called her, then I don't know what she would have done. Because she doesn't have time to go and sell it on the home market, So I'm working with her. And because I don't know that very well, and this is my first time ever dealing with a redemption period, guess what I'm doing? I'm JVing with somebody who does know it.
Yeah.
And I'm
JVing with me. You already got the deal moved?
What's that?
Is it in the burbs?
It's in the burbs, yes.
All right, let's connect on that.
Yeah, it's in Royal Oak.
Okay.
So, but I'm working with another wholesaler who knows that like the back of his hand. You actually know the other wholesaler. So, and so I'm working with him to try to get this basically locked up and going through this process.
Yep. It's a pretty simple process.
Yeah, whether it works or not, I don't know, but at least I'm going to learn something through this process.
Yeah. Well, did the numbers work on this one?
I mean, it's not a slam dunk, but they will work as long as we're all on the same page. I don't have it on the contract yet, so that's why I don't want to put it out there yet. So,
it's all good.
But it's in the works. And now, with that being said, I do have a property in Detroit that I am JVing with Todd Chun. Okay. I just posted it on our group. Okay. It's 865 Collingwood Street. It would be a great flip, and it comes with 5 vacant lots, 2 of them next to them and 3 of them behind. in my
fence it off.
And in my opinion, take the property that is there, fix it up. It's a great flip because it's literally great comps in the area. Okay, it would be a great flip or even a buy and hold. It's 4-bedroom home with a third floor attic unfinished. Okay, and uh, then there's 3 lots directly behind it. Take like a lot and a half or whatever, put a fourplex up, or put 2 fourplexes up and take up each lot, and then make a parking lot in between them. It's that's just my opinion though.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
and we're selling it for $64,900. It's a great deal.
Okay, on Collingwood, huh? I've heard that street name before. Wonder where.
It's it is on the east side, but it's a great, like I said, it's a great property. So great area too. So,
nice.
And I did put the flyer up on my Facebook group. Okay. So check it out. The address again is 865 Collingwood Street.
Write it down.
865 Collingwood. I'm gonna actually pull up the flyer. Where did I put that? One second. There we go. And it's the 48202 area code.
Okay.
So, and let's see if I can.
What are you gonna do? You gonna share it on the screen here?
Yep, I'm gonna share it on the screen. This is the property here, and it's a great property. The lady has lived in it for quite a few years, raised her children in it. Windows could be replaced, things like that. It's a great property. The has some great old world charm, things like that. 100% worth the $64,900 that we have it out there for. Okay. Plus the 5 lots. Like I said, it's 2 right next to it, and she's taking care of the lots herself. So, 100% recommend anybody who go ahead and contact Todd. The number's right here at the bottom. Okay. And you can always DM me as well. But me and Todd are JVing on this, so go ahead and contact him. Just let him know you found out from me. All right, and go from there, and we'll set you up for a walkthrough or anything like that. So we do have full photos, and if you need full photos, we'll send you a link. So
nice,
awesome. So kind of go from there. Like I said, I think that's a great property, and but I just wanted to get my little pitch in there since we just got under contract.
Had to go get my ball mitt.
Yeah.
Nice. So what else is on your mind, man? You got any other questions you want to go?
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, we're coming to the hour and a half mark. I usually kind of like to leave it right around there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, what I'm curious about, because there's a lot of new people out there. What is, as somebody who's new, there is a lot of analyzation and learning and going through there. What is the one thing that you think people should do as new people? Okay. as a new wholesaler, buy and hold investor, flipper, whatever, what do you think that they need to do to get out of analysis paralysis?
So the only thing that's going to fix that is action, right? One of the things you got to understand is that you can only educate so much, right? Again, going back to Rich Dad Poor Dad, very first duplex we bought, very first property. If the numbers make sense, you do the deal. Okay, like if this is what you're doing, like real estate, you're investing in real estate. Okay, you're not just playing real estate. Like if the numbers work, you do the deal. You figure out a way to get the money together, and you do the deal. Okay?
Yep.
That's it. Don't screw around, because life, you look back at the years and it's like, yeah, I should have done that. Yeah, you should have. And now you're in this position because you didn't. Okay, analysis paralysis. There's a book out there, Magic of Thinking Big. In there, it talks about a procrastination being a failure disease.
That, yes.
Don't screw around. Stop screwing around. Go get the job done.
I agree with that 100%. Take action in whatever it is, whether that be you're taking action with somebody who knows what they're doing so that you can keep learning. I always recommend that. But yes, you need to educate yourself in the beginning. I know how I learn myself is I educate myself, then I have to do it. If I don't do it, that education, it just kind of fizzles away, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but unless I actually put what I learned into action, it does not actually sink in.
That's true.
Yeah. So with that, every deal that you do, you're going to come across mistake after mistake, and you're going to have to learn how to pivot, how to go around it, how to look for things in the past so you can counteract all of that. Okay. Things like that. But with all that being said, I 100% agree with you. We need, again, the March 8th is going to be a big event, and I recommend anybody who is out there, it's going to be only $25 at the door. Check it out, and we'll post the details in the Facebook group. Okay, on February 22nd at 6:30 is Keller Williams, right?
Yep, that's Keller Williams' office over in Novi. Yep,
over in Novi.
Yep,
we'll post that event in the Facebook group as well. Okay, check it out. When I say networking, these are places where you go, you network, you get with like-minded people, and you start working with them, and you start learning from them, and that way you can possibly do deals with them, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, with all that being said, I hope to see almost everyone in here there, and we will go from there. But Dean, thank you. I really appreciate it. Only last thing I have is if anybody wants to get a hold of you, to ask you either any questions, to work with you, to send you deals, whatever the case may be, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go ahead and check out our YouTube, right? 3D Property Solutions. We got that. If you want to put my number up on the screen, by all means, I'll give it to you. It's 248.
All right, 248.
Yep, 940 1099. You can check out our website, dddhomebuyers.com. Find us there. Also, one last thing. I've got an episode. I'm going to be on an episode of House Hunters. Have you guys heard of that show?
Awesome. Oh, yes, I have.
On the 16th, 10 days from now, at 10 o'clock on HGTV. I've got, I'll be on TV. Look at me.
That's awesome.
So
do they do the Detroit area? Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep. I'm actually working on another client at the moment to get one of my other clients on there. So
okay,
it's that's fun. Get on TV. Spread the brand.
So if you want to get a hold of Dean, here's his number down right here. Okay, check him out. Give him a call. Even if you just want him to list your property, he is a licensed agent. I don't know if he wants to do that. If he doesn't want to list it, I'm sure he has other agents that he works with that he'll recommend as well. Okay. Depends on how busy this man's very busy. So sometimes I can't even get him on the phone, but sometimes guy's awesome. On a whim, he came on here. He showed up for me. Great guy. So I 100% recommend him. Check him out. And all he does is add value to everybody he surrounds himself with. So I recommend him, his company, his business. Check us out. We'll post all the events in the Facebook group, Metro Detroit Off Market Real Estate Group. Also, if you are not subscribed, subscribe to the YouTube channel at Randy Stedwell on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit that like button as much as possible. Okay. We need the YouTube algorithm to recommend us. All right. We do these talks every single week. Bring somebody different every Monday at 8 p.m. All right. So
there you go. Captain Stability over here.
That's what I'm trying to be. I am.
There you are.
So
good work, man.
Have a great night. We're gonna end this. Okay. Dean, hold on for a moment, and I'll get right back to you. But everyone out there, please join us for these events that are coming up, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, go over to my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on the Facebook group, go over to my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, all of it. Please do. Next time, watch from the YouTube channel to help me get that algorithm going. We are at 2,600 members, okay, in the Facebook group. We are climbing and growing every single day. We are bringing buyers every single day. Hit us in there. You guys have a great night. Have a great evening. We will see you next week, 8 p.m. on Monday, just like always. Let's all do deals together. Have a great one.